Good day, my name is Rosemary. I'm a math tutor and I love to teach. So in this video, we'll answer questions from NSC Common Test paper and we'll focus on KZN June 2022. So let's get to it. Question 1.1. Simplify the following expression fully. So we have a term multiplied by terms in a bracket. When you have this type of question, a term multiplied by a bracket, we know that we need to distribute the term outside the bracket into the bracket. So this is what we do. We have a term A multiplied by terms in a bracket, B plus or minus C. So we multiply the term outside the bracket by each term inside the bracket. So if we do that, we have A times B plus or minus A times C. So we apply the skill to the question, and this is what we have. The term outside the bracket multiplied by each term inside the bracket. When we do that, we have term outside the bracket multiplied by the first term inside the bracket minus term outside the bracket multiplied by the second term inside the bracket. Next, we collect like terms. We can see there are numbers, x terms, y terms. So we collect like terms. And when we do that, we have 1/3 times 6. The numbers x to the power 2 times x. This can be written as x to the power 1. The x terms and then the y term. So on this side, we have the numbers, the x terms and the y terms. This is y to the power 1. So we collect like terms and next we simplify. We can see that these are exponents, x to the power 2 times x to the power 1. And on this side, there are exponents too. So we need to learn how to multiply exponents. On this side, we have multiplying exponents. It says if the bases are the same, we add the exponents. So here we have an example, x to the power a times x to the power b. The bases are the same, x and x, so we add the exponents, a plus b. So we apply that to the question. And when we do that, we have 1/3 times 6 times x to the power 2 plus 1. So the bases are the same, x, so we add the exponents, 2 plus 1. Then we bring down the y. On this side, 1/3 times 9/2 times x to the power 2 plus minus 2. The bases are the same, x, so we add the exponents, 2 plus minus 2. And the y to the power 1 plus 2. The bases are the same, so we add the exponents. And when we do that, we simplify further. We have 1/3 times 6, which gives us 2. X to the power 2 plus 1 gives x to the power 3. And we bring down y. On this side, 1/3 times 9/2 gives 3/2. X to the power 2 minus 2 gives x to the power 0. And what is x to the power 0? Is equal to 1. Remember, any number to the power 0 is equal to 1. So our answer from the side is going to be 1. And then we have y to the power 1 plus 2, which gives us y to the power 3. We can write the 1, but we don't have to. We don't write 1. We don't have to. So this will be our final answer. 2x to the power 3 y minus 3/2 y to the power 3. Now, question number 2. Question 1.2 says, factorize the following expression fully. We have a term squared. We have a term squared minus a term squared. So we can see that there are squares on each side. So we can suspect that this is the difference of two squares because there is a square on the side and a square on the side. But notice that on the side, the square is only on the B and not on the 4. So we need to rewrite this 4 in such a way that it is affected by the square. So we can write the 4 as a product of its prime factors, which is 2 to the power 2. And when we write it this way, we know that by law of exponents, that this can be written as 2b to the power 2. So what we have is a plus 1 to the power 2 minus 2b to the power 2. We can see from here, we can see clearly that this is the difference of two squares. The square of a term minus the square of another term. So we factorize by the difference of two squares, which says when you have a term squared minus another term squared, the first step, open two brackets. Next step, you put the first thing squared in each of the brackets. Next step, you put the second thing squared in the brackets. And the last step, you alternate the signs. Okay, so we have a squared minus b squared. First, you open two brackets. Next, you put the first thing squared in the brackets. In this case, the first thing squared is a. So we'll write a in each of the brackets. Next, we'll write the second thing squared in the brackets. The second thing squared is b. So we'll write b in each of the brackets. And the last step is we alternate the signs. Minus plus or plus minus. It doesn't matter which one you write first, but you alternate the signs, plus and minus, minus or plus. So let's apply this skill to the question. Now we have the difference of two squares. So the first step is to open two brackets. Then we write the first thing squared in each of the brackets. We can see that the first thing squared is a plus 1. So we write a plus 1 in the first bracket, a plus 1 in the second bracket. Next, we write the second thing squared in the brackets. The second thing squared is 2b. So we write 2b in the first bracket, 2b in the second bracket. Next, we alternate the signs. So in this bracket, we write a minus. In the other bracket, we write a plus. So our answer is a plus 1 minus 2b, a plus 1 plus 2b. We can see that we cannot simplify this any further. So this becomes our final answer. Now we answer the next question. Question 1.3 says, solve for x. We have a bracket multiplied by a bracket. So a bracket multiplied by a bracket is equal to 0. So when we multiply and the answer is equal to 0, we know that one of the terms has to be equal to 0 for us to get the answer 0. Like in this case, a times b is equal to 0. So we know that it's either a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. So it could be any of them. This is equal to 0. X plus m is equal to 0, or x minus n is equal to 0. That's what this means. So when we simplify, we say we say x plus m equal to 0 or x minus n equal to 0. So to solve for x, we say x is equal to minus m. So we move the m to the right-hand side, it becomes minus m, or x is equal to n. When we move this negative n to the right-hand side, it becomes positive n. So x is equal to minus m, or x is equal to n. Now we answer the next question. Question 1.3.2 says, solve for x. We have 4 to the power x minus 4 to the power 0 minus 255 equal to 0. So we can see from here that this is 4 to the power 0. And we know that by law of exponents, 4 to the power 0 is equal to 1. It says here a to the power 0 is equal to 1. Any number to the power 0 is equal to 1. So this is going to be 1. So what we have is 4 to the power x minus 1 minus 255 is equal to 0. If we simplify, this is minus 1 minus 255, and that gives us minus 266. 4 to the power x minus 266 is equal to 0. Now we can see that this is an equation and is an exponential equation because there's a power x here. So we need to solve. The first step is to move this number to the right-hand side. When we move that, we have 4 to the power x is equal to 266. Remember, when you move a negative to the right-hand side, it becomes a positive. So now we simplify, we solve this exponential equation, we solve for x. So to do this, we need to write these numbers, these big numbers, as the product of their prime factors. So 4 becomes 2 to the power 2, and 266 becomes 2 to the power 8. So what we have is 2 to the power 2x is equal to 2 to the power 8. Now, these are exponents, and we have our laws of exponents. The law of exponents says when you are solving exponential equations, okay, over here, if the bases are the same, we equate the exponents. Equate means we make them equal. So in this case, we have a to the power x is equal to a to the power y. We can see that the bases are the same, a and a. So we say x is equal to y. We equate the exponents. So let's apply that to the question. Here we can see that the bases are the same, 2 on the side, 2 on the side. So we equate the exponents. And when we do that, we have 2x is equal to 8. Now we solve for x by dividing both sides by 2. When we divide both sides by 2, the 2 cancels out. 2 cancels this 2. And 2 cancels 8 to give 4. So our answer is x is equal to 4. The next question. Question 1.4 says, simplify the following. 2 to the power x plus 2 times 7 divided by 2 to the power x plus 4 minus 6 times 2 to the power x plus 1. If we look at this, we can see that there is one term at the numerator and 2 terms at the denominator. One term at the numerator and 2 terms at the denominator. This term and this term at the denominator. So to simplify an algebraic fraction, we need to make them into one term. The numerator has to be one term and the denominator has to be one term. Okay, one term at the numerator, one term at the denominator. So Let's simplify this. And what do? We factorize. These are exponents, 2 to the power x plus 2. So we use our laws of exponents to factorize this. And over here, we have our law of exponents that says when you multiply exponents and the bases are the same, you add the exponents. So when we have something that looks like this, a to the power m plus n, we can factorize this into their different powers, a to the power m times a to the power n. Okay, we keep the base and then we raise to the power m times a to the power n. This is how we factorize this. So we apply that to the question. Over here, when we factorize 2 to the power x plus 2, we get 2 to the power x times 2 to the power 2, and then we bring down the 7. And at the denominator, we factorize this. We have 2 to the power x times 2 to the power 4. On the side, 6 times, we factorize this. We have 2 to the power x times 2 to the power 1 by using our laws of exponents, okay? So now we have to take care of this denominator because there are 2 terms. And remember that to simplify, we need to have 1 term divided by 1 term. So let's make this denominator into 1 term. And how do we do that? We do that by taking out the common factor. Now let's look on this side. And on the side, what is the common factor? We can see 2 to the power x over here and 2 to the power x. So that's our common factor and we take it out. So this is how we take out the common factor. 2 to the power x, we take it out, then we put a bracket. And when we take out 2 to the power x on the side, what are we left with? We are left with 2 to the power 4. And on this side, when we take out 2 to the power x, what are we left with? We're left with 6 times 2 to the power 1. So now we have 1 term at the numerator, 1 term at the denominator. Remember that terms are separated by plus or minus. So this is times 2 to the power x times 2 to the power 4 minus x. So this is 1 term. Now we simplify. And how do we simplify? We simplify by canceling the common terms. There is 2x at the numerator, and there is 2x, 2 to the power x at the denominator. So those we cancel out. 2 to the power x cancels 2 to the power x at the denominator. So at the numerator, we have 2 to the power 2, which is equal to 4, and 7. At the denominator, we have 2 to the power 4, which is equal to 16, minus 6 times 2 to the power 1, which is 6 times 2, which is equal to 12. So if we simplify further, 4 times 7 is equal to 28, and 16 minus 12 is equal to 4. So we have 28 divided by 4, which gives the answer 7. So 7 is our final answer. So in the next video, we'll answer question number 2 from the same paper. So watch out for the next video where we continue